Okay, guys, with only 1 day left before the Barbarians play the Springboks in Cape Town, there's been a little change, especially in terms for the Springboks. We have seen Siya Kolisi pull out with a little niggle. They don't want to risk him. So we have seen Vincent Situka come into the squad, and we have Jesse Kriel taking over the captaincy. Now, this is a lot of weight, a lot of pressure on Jesse Kriel, but I think it's something he's going to relish, and it's something he's really, really going to look forward to. I also think he's going to have a bang up job and do the Springboks proud. Now, I want to break down this game. Like I say, we are, almost there. I want to look at both squads, see where this game is going to be won and lost, and who could potentially be the key players. So let's break it down. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And yeah, let's see how things go. So obviously, without Siya Kolisi, they are losing a big player in terms of the back row. But Tituka is a monster as well. So we aren't necessarily losing much in terms of quality. Siya Kolisi is a major leader, but what we get in leadership, we have leadership throughout the rest of the squad. But what Situka is going to be bringing is legs. He's going to be bringing that energy. He's going to be bringing that ferocity as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But when you have the likes of your Oxenche, Malcolm Marks, Jean Klein, we have, Jesse Kriel, Damien Dialende, there's enough experience here, right, to get the job done. So looking at the squad, it is very big, very strong. I do see the Springboks wanting to slow things down. They want to work very much on structured play. They want to keep things level. They want to keep things in control. Whereas the Barbarians, they are going to want to try and create as much chaos as physically possible. They want to be using players like Mark Telea to cause absolute nuisances. But I think the Springboks will have too much. They have too much experience. They have a lot of players that are very well versed in keeping things in control. So we are going to see a lot of dominant scrums. We're going to be seeing a lot of dominant lineouts, and we're going to be seeing a lot of the rolling maul, things that the Springboks can control as and when needed. They have the power, they have the weight, and they have the strength needed in the pack to really put a lot of pressure on the Barbarians. And I think the Springboks are so well drilled. A lot of them know each other. A lot of them playing with each other for many years. Whereas the Barbarians are going to be broken. They aren't going to have that same kind of connection that the Springboks do have. And I think this will ultimately be their downfall. The Springboks are very well drilled. When you have players like Cheslin Kolbe who can cause absolute destruction whenever it pleases him, and he's that kind of player that will be able to match that kind of creativity and that kind of chaos that the Barbarians will be looking to assert. So you can definitely expect a slower game, but using Cheslin Kolbe, using Arensa to be able to counterattack, to hit them when they are weakest, and really start putting pressure on the opposite numbers as well. So yeah, the centers, Damien Dialende and Jesse Kriel, are gonna come in clutch. Their carrying ability, their experience, their ability to work under pressure is gonna come crucial in this game. I can see why Rassie has chosen Jesse Kriel. He is a leader. He is, very well versed in high intensity games. And we all know the Barbarians, although they haven't been together for very long, they are brilliantly individually, but do they have enough to take down a defensively solid Springboks? I don't think so. Looking at the forwards for the Springboks, I mean, there's just experience, there's size, there's speed, there's passing ability, and there is just absolute domination when it comes to things like rucks and cleanouts and, everything under the sun that you could possibly want in a player. But it's not going to be easy. It really is not going to be easy, because when you think of Shannon Frizzell and Sam Cane, these two are destructive in the back row. So the Springboks are definitely going to have to look out very carefully for them, because again, given time, given space, just that little extra second or two, that half a second, at the ruck, at the breakdown, we will easily see, possession change. We will see mistakes happen. We will see forced errors. So yeah, they got to be very, very, very cautious about that. But at the same time, not be too cautious, because otherwise we are going to end up seeing the Springboks make a lot of mistakes, right? If the Barbarians are able to put the pressure on the Springboks, get them to start second guessing themselves, we could potentially see, a lot of unforced errors. No matter how experienced they are, having a team like the Barbarians always comes with its own risks. We haven't really seen any changes in terms of the Barbarians team. It's still strong as ever. I am looking forward to seeing players like Mark Talea, Shannon Frizzell, Sam Kane, Peter Amani coming in. That's going to be lovely to see. Cian Healy as well. The old guard, like those old experienced, silverback gorillas that are just absolute monsters. They are so scary. But ultimately, they're at the back end of the year of their career. If you had to say Cian Healy in his late to early 30s, that's a scary prospect. Same thing with Peter Amani. Obviously, they still got the legs; they are still going, but they aren't quite the forces that they used to be in the past. But we do have players like again Ratu Maitavuki, Neepkins. He's electric. He really is electric. So him and Mark Talea, I think they are going to be looking at utilizing as much counterplay as possible, really focusing on getting them out wide, getting them the space needed. Although the Springboks make that very, very, very difficult because of that pressure that they keep. And we know Marnus van der Berg is going to be keeping a tight shift. And then Sasha is going to be distributing that ball out so quickly. So I think if the Barbarians are able to keep up with South Africa in the scrums and the lineouts, they can definitely have a good shot at coming away with, with something pretty good. But I cannot see that happening. South Africa are so dominant. They are so structured. We look at how they played a majority of 2024. They were almost impossible to break down. We look at the games that they eventually ended up losing between Ireland and Argentina. They were all relatively low scoring games. So it's not like there's any team that's putting 15, 20 points past the Springboks. So for them to really get anything out of this game, they are really going to have to focus a lot on your Mark Talea, your Ratumai. I gotta read this. Ratumaitavuki, Neepkins, Melvin Jaminet. If Melvin Jaminet is going to need to have a very, very strong game because there's going to be a lot of pressure on him at all points. He's going to be forced into kicking a lot, but if his kicking is good, he can definitely create a lot of space. He's got a big boot on him as well. But again, I might be a little bit biased in relation to this, but looking at the squad, looking at how much they've actually genuinely played together, comparing to the world's best squad, I'll say the squad, the world's best nation in rugby, the genius of Rassie, how well they are drilled, how we've seen them play in the past. South Africa are going to be a very, very tough contest. So if they are not able to break contest at the scrums and the lineouts, I can't see how they're going to be able to break down the Springboks unless players like Mark Talea put in stunning performances, break the gain line, take on 3-4 players and end up scoring tries. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think of Jesse Kriel getting the captaincy? And yeah, let's look for the game. So by all means, I look forward to seeing any of you guys that might be there, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.